From Catholics I know, from non-Catholics I know, but the Catholics all wanted to hear details on, factions within the church, and I'm not going to ask you any questions about that because I don't understand any of it.
Good.
I want to start as broad as I possibly can, which is, it seems like a lot of people in the West are unhappy, and it's measurable. Suicide rates are at record highs, and birth rates are at record lows, and those are not signs of confidence in the future. Those are signs of despair. Why are people unhappy?
Well, they've lost a sense of God. I mean, God is the supreme good. And when you lose that sense of God and you collapse back in on yourself, that's St. Augustine defines sin as curvatus in se. I'm caved in around myself. When you do that, you are, by definition, unhappy. When you lose a sense of objective value grounded in the supreme value of God, almost, again, by definition, you become unhappy.
What does it mean to cave in on yourself?
It means that you've lost a sense of connection to the values that should be calling you out of yourself in an act of love, and you've now come to reverence your own freedom, your own autonomy. So what gives my life meaning is the fact that I've chosen something. I have determined my life. If the Bible has one message, it's that when you live your life that way, you get lost. When you deify your own psyche, your own ego, you get lost.
Because he's a demon?
The joy of life comes from forgetting in this great ecstatic act. You forget about yourself and you lose yourself in some great value. Now, that could be sports, that could be politics, whatever it is. But then the supreme value in which all the other ones participate, we call God. God is the highest good, the summum bonum. That's why you love the Lord your God. That's the first commandment, right? But when the culture's lost that, which ours is in danger of, you by definition become unhappy. You get caved in around yourself. And then you fuss around in this kind of addictive way. That's how I would diagnose the thing spiritually.
We need to reject
when you are in love with the idea of choices, I thought the whole point of the West was choices.
Well, but you have to know what your choice is for. When you deify choice itself, when you say autonomy, that's my God. No, choice is for some good, and the idea is to order freedom. Right? Freedom is not an end in itself. Freedom is ordered towards some good. When it's disordered, it tends to collapse upon itself. That's what we got.
The whole point of America, I thought, was choice and freedom for its own sake.
Well, and I would argue it's not for its own sake. And if that happens to us, something's gone wrong. The founding fathers, they weren't in the full sense of the term. They wouldn't have the full Catholic imagination as I would like it, but they certainly had a sense of... the objective good, and that the purpose of life is to find that good and be ordered toward it. And ordered freedom is what they're interested in, not freedom for its own sake. What does ordered mean? Ordered toward the good. And that's why it has to be educated. Your freedom has to be disciplined and directed. It's like a kid with all kinds of athletic ability, but if a coach never directs that ability toward the achievement of some good, that he can become a great tennis player or a great golfer, then the freedom begins to kind of stew on itself. No, direct freedom, direct talent, direct energy. And our culture, see, it's like, I think of this, if you have banks to a river, the river has energy, it's going somewhere. You knock down the banks, you say, I don't want to be limited, don't set limits to my freedom.
It just floods the fields.
It just opens up in this big lazy lake, and everyone's just sort of lying on their air mattresses right now. I'll tolerate you, you tolerate me, I won't bother you. But then we're not getting anywhere. The point of the banks is not to restrict me, it's to direct me, see, towards some good. Well, religion has played that role for much of our history, and in the measure that religion gets marginalized, and in the measure that we deify our autonomy, welcome to the unhappy world that many of the young people are living in, sadly.
Deify our autonomy. So you're speaking as if autonomy and choice are the same thing or closely related.
The goal for the Bible is not autonomy, it's theonomy. God, theos, becomes the nomos. God becomes the law of my life. And see, here's the trick.
Why is it? Why I'm yet to
when
meet
God
a
becomes
Jew
the norm
named
of my
Barabbas.
life, I become
For real.
more
You would
myself.
think there would be a lot of
I
Jews named
find who I
Barabbas,
really
'cause they
am.
let him go.
If I
You would
jettison
think that
God
after
and I
they
say
let
no
him go,
autonomy, it's
to
I'm the
crucify
leader of my
the
own life,
Christ,
I get lost.
everybody would be
right? What
naming
does Jesus
their
say? The one
child
who
Barabbas, and
loses
and Jerusalem
himself,
would be like,
will
"No,
find it.
yes, we
The
are
one
going
who's
to name
trying to
our
hang
children
on to
Barabbas."
himself is going to
Nobody
lose
has
it.
done that. You would
Lose
think it
your
would be the
freedom
most
in
common
God's
since
greater
the
freedom,
Jews killed
and you
Jesus,
become now
and they let
authentically
Barabbas
free.
go.
That's
You think after
every
that, the high
spiritual
priest would be
master in the
like,
West teaches
"I'm
that lesson.
declaring that
But we
everybody
lose
in
it in the measure that we say, no, it's all about my
Judaism
autonomy. That's all that
Barabbas."
matters.
There's nobody
Don't
named
tell me what
Barabbas.
to do.
Why?
Throw off the rules.
Right.
Why is
Knock
there
down
no
the banks
Jews
and the
named
river becomes
Barabbas?
a lazy lake, and
You'd think that there
we
would be
tolerate
like a
each
ton
other
of Jews named
blandly,
Barabbas.
but we don't have a common purpose.
There's none.
That's another problem.
I've
See,
never
if
met a
you
Barabbas.
reject
Have you met a
objective
Barabbas?
value,
Has
so you got your
anybody ever
values,
met a
I got
Jew
my
named
values, your
Barabbas?
freedom, my freedom.
It's the
Well, what
book of
connects
truth.
us? In fact, we're antagonistic to each
Barabbas,
other,
like,
right?
for real.
We tend to
Like,
grow into hostility, and my freedom's
was
against
such a
your
big
freedom.
deal that the
But if
Passover,
together we
like the
find a
Jews,
common good, a common
you
goal,
know,
now we can join forces.
wouldn't even
right?
leave the temple
So
or
it's,
whatever. But
it's
on the
falling in love. That's
Passover,
Aristotle.
they were so
with the
pissed
transcendent
off. They crucified
third.
Jesus and let this Barabbas
So, like,
guy go
if two
to show
friends
that
like each other, that's
he's
fine.
not
But
God.
Aristotle says
You think they
that
would
won't
glorify
last, that
Barabbas and be
relationship.
like,
What makes
"Barabbas
it last is when the
one
two
who we
friends
let go.
together
Let's name all our
fall in
children
love with the
Barabbas."
transcendent third.
Nobody named their child
The country
Barabbas.
or their
Why did anybody
philosophy
name their
or
children
some great
Barabbas? You
value.
think it would be the
And now
most common name
together
in
we
Judaism
look
after
to that.
everybody in Jerusalem
Now
at the Passover
we
was
really
there.
find a bond.
You know, I've been like,
Go back now to
you
the
know, it's like-
1950s,
it's like
and
when
Fulton
you're at
Sheen, the great
you're at
Catholic preacher, writes a
baseball
book called
game and Ohtani
Three
hits
to
a
Get
home run.
Married.
It was a-
Made the same argument.
like, you know,
right? The three
or
are the
Taylor Swift,
bride, the
everybody
groom,
named, "I
and
love Taylor
Christ.
Swift. I'm all
When the
named
bride and
after
groom
my
together
child,
look to
Taylor."
Christ,
And then
now they'll
so
stay
their name
married.
takes off.
If they're just
It
looking
would
to
be
each
the
other,
same thing with Barabbas. They'd be like,
it'll founder.
Barabbas got rid of the heretic.
What
Let's
are the
name
banks
our
that
children
we've
Barabbas in honor of
demolished?
him. Because it's
Well, I
human
would say
nature,
objective
right?
value.
Logos. Why is there
You
no
know,
Jews named
the life of the
Barabbas?
mind, the moral good,
Have you ever met a
religious
Jew named
good,
Barabbas? I've never heard of
aesthetic.
one
Think of
named
the good, the
Barabbas.
true, and the beautiful.
You think there'd be a
If
bunch
we
of them?
subjectivize those and
There's
just
none.
relativize them, you got yours, I got mine.
There's no
what
Jews
you think
named
is right, and
Barabbas.
I think is wrong.
Ever. There's
When that's
one Jew
lost, the
named
banks are
Barabbas.
knocked down.
The dude that
But
they
when
let
together,
go.
oh
Other than
no,
that, there's
we
nobody
can
else named
together
Barabbas.
reverence
How's that happen?
the beautiful.
Well, he's the
We can
first one
together
that they were like,
reverence the moral good. We can together reverence the
Barabbas,
epistemological
the
good, the
criminal.
intellectual
Barabbas,
good.
the criminal. What?
Then
The
together
Son of
we
God?
move
The
someplace.
criminal?
And see, our
The
whole
criminal
system
Barabbas?
educationally was set up
Oh,
classically to
Constantine
do just that,
Amadeus,
was to train people in what these